going to be kind of a fun stitch. I'm going to show you two things. Number one, working with some decorative thread that's a little thicker. And number two, I'm going to make it a wide 3 thread. So currently we are sitting at a narrow 3 thread. So all my tensions are normal, except I have the right needle in, and I need to put the left needle back in and now take out the right needle. So here's how I'm going to do it. You can just kind of watch me switch over from our last video. So I'm going to go ahead and put the needle in. Let me show you why I don't just take this needle out and switch it over to the left position. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Now remember, I tightened the needle screw when I took this out. So I need to first take my screwdriver, I'm loosening the screw next to the L at the top, and I'm making sure that my needle goes all the way as high as it possibly can. And I'm checking the height. Remember, the left one goes higher than the right one. So by putting this needle in first, I make sure that my height of my newly inserted needle is correct before I take out the other one. So if you ever have that opportunity, it is a good way to just double check. I'm lifting up the presser foot, so when I go to pull off my thread, I'm taking off the green one and putting back on my yellow one, or orange today. Okay, so that's just going to go on. Since I pulled it out, that does mean I have to thread it from scratch, but needles are, well, gosh, they're just as simple as threading a needle for your sewing machine. All right, we even have that little needle threader that can put that in. And actually, while I'm down here, let me go ahead and take out the needle I do not use. So that's the right one. Here we go. And give it a little wiggle, tighten that up, and you can take the needle, put it back in the little foam pad back here. That's my little place I can always find it later. Needle threader, little handheld needle threader, kind of plunges the thread through, and I can pull the loop out the back side and not have to struggle threading the needle. All right, so right now we have the left needle in, we have an upper looper and a lower looper, but I said I wanted to make this decorative, and when you see the result, you'll see why I wanted to show you. So I'm going to just snip the blue thread. I snipped it way down at the cone, so I have plenty for tying on here. And because this thread is really thick and the loopers have really big eyes, this knot will go through the eye, but it might need a little help because it is on the thicker side here. So first thing I'm going to do is just, I still have my presser foot up, but I want to get a hold of, I need to get a hold of that little chain here, and that will help us just get a hold of the blue thread that I want to pull through. And I can pull the red thread through, but I'll just go ahead and help that, just the blue thread. So here comes our knot, and it's at the looper right now. So I'm going to just kind of give it a little bit of a help and pull that through. Now, anytime you add decorative thread into the serger, we will need to allow for that thickness by taking that tension and reducing it quite a bit. I don't know how much, but these two threads are going to play tug-of-war together. So with that decorative thread, it's going to want to pull things up. So if I loosen it, then this red thread has a chance to keep it out at the edge. And I'll probably end up tightening this a little bit more. But for right now, let's just go ahead and see what it looks like. I'm going to do this on some denim, so our thread will really show up nice. I'm going to slide that in. I have no chain. Everybody's freshly threaded, so I'm going to just go ahead and stitch here. Ooh, really short stitch length from our last one. I'm going to lengthen it just a little bit. That's that top knot back here. Looking good. And I have one thread, just more so I can get it out of my way. It was the extra needle thread that we started with. Now usually with decorative thread, I tend to not run it around and underneath the knife. I don't want to waste it, so I'll come back here and do a little snip. So here's for the first time through. Actually, we're getting there, but see how loose it actually is? I bet I actually made this too loose. So let's just tighten that up just a little bit. And just because I'm testing, I'm going to now do it on the short end of the fabric. Oh yeah, looking much better. I actually did put it too loose. You need to loosen it, but you might not need to do it as much as you realize there. Okay, so couple things are going on here. I do like the look of this. A heavier thread on a thicker fabric. It really puts a pretty edge around it. Can you see that almost as a binding? You wouldn't even have to turn it under an edge. You could actually have that be the decorative edge. I see one little part that kind of cut right here. So something might have just got a little hitch in its giddy up when it was going through. I can double check if there was anything that it might have got linked around. Technically, I don't see anything, but I'll keep an eye on it before I totally do it. I might tighten up that red thread just a little bit more and kind of see if I can pull that down, and also make my knife not cut off so much, because the last thing I did was a rolled hem, and that actually would be quite narrow right now. And voila. Third time's the charm. Changing just one setting at a time really lets you see the changes. So we went from loopy to perfect. Now, if I happen to have had another spool of this decorative thread, that would be really pretty on the back. Oh, one other thing. See how, actually, I'm not done just yet. See how I have some little extra loops of the needle thread? I'm going to go ahead and tighten that one up just a little bit. One more round, and we'll see if we've got it all the way perfect. I like the back to look as good as the front. Oh, needs to go a little bit more, but that's okay. You can kind of get the right idea. So this is a wide 3-thread. It is great along edge finishes. You could almost do like table, I want to say placemats, and voila, just go around all 4 sides. You're done. You don't have to do any extra binding. And if you had 2 spools of the decorative thread, you're going to just kind of balance them out. One won't have to be as tight as the other. They'll probably both be about the same as they go through, but with a little adjustment, you'll get them dialed in just perfect.